I think the sun is shining, which is not so often here. And we are very proud of the Göteborg Avenue because in Stockholm they don't have any avenue. Right, so I think we are ready to roll. As you have seen earlier today, these epic running photos, as Thomas mentioned, they are from the island of Gotland, or actually specifically, most of them were shot at an island north of Gotland, which is called Fårö, which is very special. You should go there. It looks very much like Greece. Gotland is a very nice island. It's the biggest island of Sweden and is situated in the Baltic Sea. So now you got a small geographical lesson also. So we decided to shoot the running photos there. Last year, there was a guy who decided to swim around the island. A short little swim of 300K. Watch this. No, it's not that guy that is coming up now. That's a seal. We invite him for next year, okay? No, instead, I want you to welcome one of the most important persons in Salming running success history. This person has a DNA that you can find in every Salming running shoe today. I want you to welcome the best Swedish triathlete through all times. Please welcome Salming ambassador Jonas Colting. Great to have you here, Jonas.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You told me you have been here before.
Yes, I have. I've given a talk here in the past.
In the past.
And I've also been quite a few times to Liseberg, of course.
Of course, and you've been at the Salming Sales Summit before also.
Yeah. Maybe a few years ago, but I have.
Tell me, Jonas, what we saw in this film? Can you just give us an explanation, please?
Well, the actual stage that you've shown was probably one of the worst stages on swimming around Gotland. Usually Gotland is always projected as being a very sunny place. Yeah. Like you said, the sun doesn't shine so much here on the west coast, and everyone that lives on the east coast are very quick telling us that this is the worst coast and they have the sun and the warmth. But to my surprise, in Gotland, because I had pictured this to be a beautiful, almost summer vacation kind of thing with the sun and warm water and long, nice barbecue dinners and such. But it was quite the opposite. It was horribly cold, probably the worst 2 weeks. Probably the first week was fine or okay, but the 2 weeks in the end were the worst summer weeks that anyone on Gotland could ever remember. So this stage had been preceded by 2 or 3 days where we had temperatures in the water between 7 and 9 degrees.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, I don't know if you guys swim, but it's it's horrible to get in the water. And there was so much wind, and so the waves were so large that even the ferries that go from mainland Sweden to Gotland were cancelled. So we had so much trouble getting our boat out there to drop me off in the ocean where I had stopped previously. So at this stage, we were a long way behind schedule, and my chauffeur, or the pilot of the boat, who's working for me, drove me out. The boat was almost capsizing, but it was really make or break. And once I got in the water, I swam for, I think, 3.5 or 4 hours. Without
3.5 or 4 hours.
I just swam. I just, let's get this. Let's just swim and never stop, because I was so far behind.
Yeah.
And once I started, and I thought I saw, and I was really tired in the end. This was at the end, and I thought I started to see things. I thought I was hallucinating, and I think I even hit one seal at the time, or because they are very curious and they come very close. So when I stopped, there were seals all over the place, basically. Yeah. Which I thought was fine, because it's like a Disney World kind of animal. Until I Googled seals, and I found out they actually become 3 meters long, and they can weigh, or 2.5, 3 meters long, and they can weigh 300 kilos, and they have jaws and teeth like ice bears. So after that, they weren't so cute. But this was a fantastic project. I work a lot with sort of public health, or sort of health and fitness, and they have a big political summit in Gotland in the summertime. And so my focus, the aim for this swim was to promote swimming safety, fitness in general, and the need for the society to invest more money and more resources in giving people availability to health and fitness, specifically in this case, public swimming pools.
Yeah, and you had a sort of a goal, 100 swimming pools in 10 years.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, because in Sweden, almost all all swimming pools are publicly funded by tax money, and we always pride ourselves with having our kids grow up and learning how to swim and so forth, and it's taught through school. But as it is now, over 40 Swedish cities or townships don't have public pools. And a lot of pools are run down and old, and with all the new, with everyone today wanting to learn how to swim, because so many people turn into triathlon and swim run, and swimming is such great exercise, of course. There is a huge need for more swimming pools. So my aim was to promote 100 new swimming pools in 10 years.
So, and it's especially now when there's coming so many refugees from Middle East and so on, and they normally can't swim.
No, and it's very important with integration and Swedish culture, because Swedish people love to spend summers close to the water and out in nature. So if you can't swim, you're going to be excluded from that sort of community. So it's it was a big aim, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, and can you tell us something about what was the response from the politicians and so on?
No response.
No response at all.
They were so busy drinking, having drinks, and tapping each other on the back, I think.
Okay.
It's I don't have a lot of I don't know how to put it, but it was quite a disappointment, actually, because we worked a lot, very heavily with communication and a direct approach, and we asked every political party how they would work with getting people healthier, with fighting obesity, getting kids active, the curve that more people than in a long time now is drowning in Sweden, how to turn that around and so forth. And I basically didn't get any response at all, which was quite a disappointment. But that goes to show that maybe politics are excluded or moved away from sort of normal, average public people. So. But maybe this is something I continually work on, and we'll see what happens over time, of course.
But you haven't heard anything after the tapping and the whining? I mean, later on?
I only sort of through back channels where I heard that someone thought it was a very good effort, and someone thought it was worthwhile, but I think that's a general issue that should be lifted more, because in politics, and we have an election year in Sweden now, they talk a lot about, of course, money in different things. Things cost money, and money, and schools, and public health care, and so forth, and money. But no one talks about what you could do, or they could do with our tax money to invest in health, to prevent people from getting sick, to get our kids more activated. And if that was over time, the society would save so much money in the other end with having healthier, fitter, and happier people. So I think that's for every one of us that are involved in sports or health or fitness or in the industry around it. It's a big, very important issue. I think it should be an underlining message in everything that we do.
But you've done these kind of projects before. I think you swam around Phuket, and,
yes,
you also swam all the way from Stockholm to Göteborg, which is quite far.
Yeah, it was very far, 640 kilometers.
Yeah. So, but there you also had some special goals with these adventures. I think there was something with water aid and can you tell us?
That first swim I did, the really long swim, was aiming towards was a charity project, and I think charity projects are really good when you do something monumental and you know you're going to get some attention for it. It's always nice, and it gives you extra motivation to use that attention to be able to raise money for like a third party. So this was aimed at providing an effort for water aid, and they provide clean water and sanitation for areas in the world that have obviously troubles with that, and they don't have clean water. So I managed to raise almost 750,000 kroners, which is roughly about $100,000 in the 6 weeks, which was nice.
Hear this? Man, come on. Great.
But I think also you see a lot of these charities in different areas, and I think it's such a good way to stay motivated oneself. It would have been hard for me to swim those 6 weeks just to receive another tap on my back. So once things get really hard, when you have your motivation also lies in doing something for the greater good, it becomes an extra. There is an extra engine that drives you, and I think that's helped me, and I learned a lot from it. And you see a lot of similar projects right now where people get into sports, or where people actually get healthy and exercise in groups, and in the meantime they also collect money for cancer research or Alzheimer research or something, which is it's a win-win situation. Very good. Yeah.
Now, I think we should go out of the water and talk a little bit about running and your connection with Salming. As I said before, and I said it this morning, that part of your DNA is in all these fantastic shoes that we see. Can you tell us about how did this start, and what has been your influence on the shoes specifically?
I've been involved with Salming running since 2012, when Thomas and Thomas contacted me, and they were just taking the first steps on sort of creating Salming running, and I helped them, or I sort of became the consultant on how this approach, and it was very clear from the beginning. It was supposed like the no nonsense, simplicity approach, natural running. That was set from the start, and so we together started examining a variety of running shoes. Because I had ran up to that point in so many different brands and so many different models. I had a very clear idea of how a fast or sort of the no nonsense shoes, what it should look like. So we did a very long technical analysis, and we had a very long approach to the first year's shoes, and we did some running clinics, or I held a few running clinics with the crew at that time, and we just sort of we took two steps forward and one step back, and we sort of slowly but surely molded what then turned into the Salming running collection. It was a great and very interesting process, and from that point, I've been a Salming ambassador.
Was it sort of the no-nonsense attitude that caught your eye and your ear, or what was it, sort of say, that caught you? Because I mean, you at that time you were still a top triathlete, or maybe, but you've been that for quite a few years, and as you said, you've tried a lot of different shoes. So what actually really caught your ear and say, okay, I go for it, and I think that is right for me?
Yeah, first of all, the no-nonsense approach, and the second of all, that it was a 100% Swedish brand, which was also, I think, very interesting. That it would be the first sort of, hopefully, the first major Swedish running brand, which was also very appealing. And thirdly, to be able to be part of something that starts from the ground up, like to be part of the first, like from the to mold the process basically, and those things combined. And I also liked Thomas and Thomas. And I thought they were
doesn't like them.
Yeah, and I thought they were great guys, and it set the tone for a very good relationship, and that's, I think that's also why things have worked out so very well, and it's gives me great joy to see so many people running in the Salming brand wherever I go, even when I'm abroad. Going to Hawaii or whatever, you see people running in Salming shoes and wearing Salming brand. So that's fantastic to think back that I've in a small way been part of that since the very beginning.
Yeah, great. You have some of the shoes are your favorites. I think you have the OT Comp here.
Yeah,
that's the one I have here. Why are they your favorite shoes?
I like to run on trails a lot. I train to run fast, or I used to at least run fast on the sort of flat surface or asphalt, because I'm a triathlete and that's what you run on. But for running, pure running races and running training, I do a lot of training on the trails and on very hilly surfaces, mixing from sort of more recreational, sort of created trails, gravel roads, nature trails, and such. The terrain is very varied, and I like a shoe that is very close to the ground, because I like to feel the surface. And also, of course, the good traction and the overall fit. And since I also do a lot of swim run racing and training, and I've been part of the swim run sport from the very start, this is a perfect shoe for doing swim run. Obviously it's always going to be a compromise swimming in a running shoe, but I think this shoe fit very well, and I had one of the very first prototypes when I went to California in the fall and did a swim run in San Diego, and it turned out to be perfect. So this is actually one of my favorite shoes, and I also run it. This is me running in Griffith Park. I do work. Yeah. I do use it even for just any workout where I even run quite a lot on harder surfaces. I think it works very good. So, yeah.
Talking about surfaces, I listen to your podcast that you have every week, and we have a very good cooperation with you, and you were presenting some of our products there during the spring, and on one of these podcasts a few weeks ago, talking about surfaces, you were really going into details. You were talking about the coward eyes, sneaky eyes.
Sneaky bad eyes.
Can you give a little bit more about these details?
Yeah, it's hard to explain for someone that didn't experience it, but we had a very, very long winter in Sweden, and one of the positive things is that we have great ski tracks. Or I live in Både, which is about 70 kilometers from here, going east, and we have fantastic ski tracks. You wouldn't believe it being in Gothenburg at the same time, because here it would rain and be gray and you wouldn't see snow at all. But in Både, there would be quite a lot of snow, and we have artificial ski tracks where you could go, on 10-kilometer tracks, which is fantastic. So that's good. The bad thing is that there would be a lot of ice in nature or on trails and stuff. So the sneaky coward eyes is when the sun comes out and the ice sort of promises to hold you, and you run, and just as you're going to put the full force of the weight on every step, it sort of breaks. So it doesn't hold its promise.
Okay.
So you keep on skidding around, and it's probably the worst condition ever to run in. It's so ungrateful. And coward, sneaky eyes. I really hate it.
Good name.
Yeah, it's gone now though.
This is, as you know, have you seen it, the ice bike school?
Actually, I haven't tried. I haven't tried one of those. I've seen it, but I haven't been able to run in it yet. So,
So, but I think this could be named the Fuck All Ice.
Fuck All Ice shoe. Yeah. Perfect name. Yeah, I think
name.
Exactly. This would be perfect, and this is. This winter, this would have been the absolute favorite shoe of mine. Had I, or next year it will be for sure if we have a similar season. So,
now we have talked about swimming and talked about running, and you are triathletes, but we're not going to talk about biking because that is not in our range. But you have a new adventure coming up this fall. You are sort of going back to the roots, so to say, that you are going to make another Ironman.
Yes.
And I wonder, I mean, if you've been there at the top, if you've been there winning Ultraman 2 times, how is that feeling to go back and perform again? But that must be very difficult because you can't compare it what you did 10 years or 15 years ago. How does that?
You can compare, but it's it's disappointing to compare. But I think it's just. I think for me it's important to keep being an athlete, even if I grow older. And in 10 years I will be 55, and then 65, and then so.
Sure.
I think the spirit of being an athlete is to do your best and to just adjust to the age that you have. And for me, it's since I work so much around running and especially triathlon. I do a lot of coaching. I have a huge group of people that I coach in Sweden through my coaching company, and I have so many swim camps, and through the Salming brand and through the wetsuit brand that I have. It's very important for me to also be an active part. Not always, but from time to time to do things. And so I thought, now that I turned 45, it's safe to go back without having too many expectations, both from myself and others. So it's just going to be a nice experience to train really hard and do my absolute best. And if 30 minutes faster or 30 minutes slower, it really doesn't matter so much. It's more important to be a part and do your best, because that's exactly what I tell everyone else. There are so many things you cannot control. Mm-hmm. There are so many things you cannot, even if you do perfect training, maybe you wake up on race day with a sore throat and you can't even race, or maybe you do perfect training and you get a flat tire, or which you can fix, of course, but maybe your chain breaks and that's very hard to fix. So there are so many things that can happen that can affect your performance on the day. So you shouldn't put too much pressure on that, but instead focus on the process leading up to it, which can always be so many positive things. Just trying to do your best and enjoying people that you meet and doing hard training and learning something about yourselves and just striving forward. So I hope to do a good race, but if I don't do a perfect race, it really doesn't matter that much. I've done my best, and there's always going to be another race if you want to. So it's going to be fun, and especially since triathlon now in Sweden is so big, or like for a minority sport, it's growing definitely. The Swedish Ironman race has 3,000 people doing it. I remember doing the very first race in 1994. There were 63 people of us doing it. Everyone thought we were crazy, and now there are 3,000 people, very average people doing it, and it's very fun and very rewarding to see the entire process, to be part of that.
But intellectually, you can sit here and say that. But honestly, if you are out there training, isn't there the devil coming up in your head and saying,
horribly.
"Oh no, go"?
I should have been home training right now, for instance. I don't know. No, but seriously, it's very hard. But if you've been quite good at something, you always try to compare, and it's hard to. It's a little bit hard to balance, but it's an important thing to do. And I do get a lot of training, and I probably train more or harder than most sort of age groupers or amateurs, since I have a company to run as well. But it's It is for this year, if things go well, I'm going to do the Ö till Ö again, the swim run, and I've done that for every year since the start.
Sort of the World Championships in swim run?
Yeah. And I've been part of that since the very start in 2006. I've done every single edition, and then if things go really well, I might even go and do the Ultraman in Hawaii in November. So it's a big crazy year of a lot of training, and then next year maybe I'll just have to do yoga or
I don't believe about yoga.
Maybe sleep. So it's So I think once you get older, you can do things in cycles. Like 1 year you do this quite a lot, and then next year you maybe focus a lot on cross country skiing. It's always great to just be an athlete or to have athletic ambitions and just to try to be better at something or try to be reasonably good and just adjust to whatever things happen. Once you get older, things slow down and you're more likely to get injured and you need more rest, and you always have to listen to oneself. So but like you say, you got to keep those the devils of ambition off your back.
But talking about you said the evolution of the Ironman, and now there are about 2,000 people or something like that doing it.
Probably likely more like 3,000 people.
Yeah, 3,000 people. And what would you say about training, not being that top athlete that you are? Because I just keep thinking of we had Mark Allen here 2 years ago, and he was talking a lot about listen to your body, not using a lot of electronic stuff. And we had Joy Bolin here this morning, and she said something similar about that. You have to feel what's your body ready for today. And Mark said that his top qualities came up because he listened to his body and not to all the clocks and so on. So my question is, one is, could like anybody here do an Ironman as long as you're okay fit? And second is that a good way to practice and not having all that electronic stuff that you can buy everywhere?
Yeah, I do so many talks all over Sweden, and I give like talks to generic crowds or different companies or such. And I tell every group of people that I talk to that anyone in the audience could definitely do an Ironman if they give themselves maybe, well, depending on who you are, but between 10 to 12 months of training.
Okay.
And if you're just patient and give yourself enough time and don't stress training, there is absolutely in everyone's reach if you would want to do an Ironman, which is a big question because it's really not a lot of fun, but it can be very rewarding, of course. But if you have the motivation and you have a good answer to the question, why do I want to do this? Maybe to get fit, or maybe to lose weight, maybe to start new habits, maybe to break bad habits, maybe to find out something about yourself, and of course, maybe to realize a dream or something, then there's basically no one that is so unfit. If you're medically healthy, and I'd say between the age of 20 to 60 years old, or even older actually, if you give like at the most anyone would need is 18 months of preparation, like doing a little bit every day, starting very slow, maybe just actually starting with walking and easy exercises, just breaststroking, easy like length after length in the pool. With that sort of long-term approach, anyone could definitely finish an Ironman. Not very fast, but definitely within the time frame of that you have to hold yourself in. So, and that if you go to Ironman Sweden, you'll see all these people that used to be obese, or people that used to be smokers, or party too much, or people that were picked last in gymnastics in school, or they don't have maybe very good eye-hand coordination, and maybe they're not very good at playing soccer, which is heavily promoted in Sweden. So maybe they never felt themselves like athletes or athletic with people with athletic capabilities, but they're all represented in this race. So definitely everyone can do an Ironman if they would want to. And your second question, I agree very much with Mark Allen, and to think or to actually know that almost 30 years ago, they pretty much went just as fast in triathlon, or at least in the Hawaii Ironman, like they do today, with old with no technology basically, and with old bicycles, old bicycling geometry, clothing that flapped around, and and less competition to push them, and less prize money, so a lot less financial incentive. So it's always an athlete's best tool to be able to connect with the inner computer or with the inner voice and the intuitive feeling on how things go. I always tell people that I coach that any technical gadget like the Garmin watch or the heart rate monitor or the software on the computer should always be a tool that you can use, and it should not use you. Like you control the technical, you control your watch, you control these technical gadgets. They shouldn't control you. But it happens quite a lot of times that people sort of try to please their Garmin watch. And so it's I have a love-hate relationship to these things. I tire very quickly when trying to figure things out, and I could be the perfect user. I would be the perfect user analyst, so to speak, because I find so many things that don't work. Okay, we have some, what do you call it, technician that sit and program these things, and it's not user-friendly for, because they think that people want to spend 2 days on reading every single. I'm plug and play. This should work. I don't want to know why. I don't even want to know why and how. Just make it work. Just provide information. But I think it takes a lot of time for people to. I think people in general spend too much time with these things instead of just trying to realize the feeling on how the body reacts of different type of training, and just answering the question, am I tired? Do I feel good? Do I feel rested? Do I feel recovered? Do I feel motivated? Or do I have hesitation? Are my muscles feeling strong? Is my immune system strong? Do I eat well? And so forth. So these things are so much better to tap into than to your Garmin watch.
Yeah. So anybody in for an Ironman next year? Hand up. Nobody.
There's at least someone in every audience lifting their hand.
We have one of the best Ironman coaches here. So if you change your mind, just tell me tonight, and I will give Jonas a call. Getting over a little bit to just shortly and briefly. You're very much into health and to what to eat, not just to go there and training and trying to be an athlete. I mean, a big part of that is being healthy and eating the right stuff. So could you just shortly give us what is sort of the foundation for you when you talk about health and connected to food?
Well, I think one of the important things today, and it's a problem all over the world, is eating too much sugar and too many refined carbs. I don't think there is any knowledgeable person out there working with food that wouldn't agree with me at this point. So that is a huge problem. And being an athlete, I've definitely eaten my share of sugar over the years. And if you allow yourself to use every training session as an excuse to indulge in sugar through energy bars, gels, sports drinks, soft drinks, recovery drinks, and so forth, there will definitely be a problem over time. Because even if just because you're being fit and train a lot doesn't mean you're immune to other diseases or diseases that affect general people. And just because maybe you look good or maybe you're still thin, it doesn't. You can still get sick on the inside and over time. So I think for me, when I talk to, and I don't separate athletes from average or normal people not being athletic. I mean, we all share the same need for health, and we all share the same basic biochemistry and such. So I think staying away from sort of everyday sugars, like in the normal meals, for instance, avoiding sugary cereals or sugary yogurts and too much bread or sweet stuff that sort of seep into our normal meals. To eat food that is as little refined as possible. And I love huge, big green salads with green kale and spinach and avocado and seeds, nuts, some fruits on, avocado in heaps, lots of olive oil, and combined with other foods that aren't refined, fresh meats, organically produced with a lot of fat on, of course, because we really thrive on a lot of fat. Great fish, fresh fish, lamb, and I eat some dairy, but not a lot, and just basically things that aren't refined. And I save, because of course I enjoy sugar, and I know people do enjoy sugar, so I try to encourage people to enjoy sugar as a treat, just as we would with alcohol for something. We wouldn't drink alcohol to every meal or when we're thirsty. Like we would use it as something that we enjoy. Like we would enjoy 2 glasses of wine, and we would enjoy the taste and the feel, and we would savor it. Yeah. And we should do the same with sugar. Like we should enjoy dessert or like chocolate or a treat, or go to the cafe with fika in Sweden. Like when we have a nice talk and we drink a cup of coffee, we have there is a value in sharing this moment, and we can eat something sweet, and and that's perfect, and we should use it for that. So it's just striking a good balance. Nothing is black and white, but it's, I think, the breakfast that we eat every day, that's where the difference is. Whether or not we pound ourselves with sugary drinks every time we exercise, or if we mainly use water and then maybe a little bit sugar when we're tired. And what we eat for dinner and for lunch and stuff like that. And I think that goes a really long way in the end. And knowing when and how to treat ourselves. So, yeah.
I think I can recommend you to check out Jonas' Instagram, and it's very inspiring with the different dishes that you make there.
And also, and it should be simple, because I'm not a cook. I'm not a cook. I'm not even a very practical person. But anyone with, even the basic of knowledges can just learn how to chop and dice a perfect salad. Just knowing what produce to use, and anyone can. I do a lot of egg dishes. I mean, anyone can produce a great omelette in 7 to 9 minutes. I mean, you don't have to pour cereal with milk or cereal with sweetened sugar, yogurt, or just like eat bread with marmalade. Like anyone can do a great omelette, which would be sustain both your health and energy for hours to come. So it's not hard. Just gotta put a little bit effort in just finding out. So I try to inspire people in the simplicity, and also passing it down to their kids and getting their partner inspired, or just so, and that will raise the level so much in a family unit, I think.
So now we've been talking about all these adventures and all that, how to keep healthy, how to practice, how to train. But you have your biggest adventure in front of you, because you're going to be a father.
Oh yes.
So and with all that stuff behind you, and that all the knowledge that you have, so then you know everything and how to manage to be a father.
I don't know anything. I don't know the first thing. It's very scary.
Scary?
Yeah, very. Not very scary, but very new, and at least a little bit scary. But so. Yeah.
But have you got any good advices from your social media, and too many advices?
Too many advice, and the best advice is probably don't listen to advice. What many people wrote. Sure. Yeah. So I think that things will work out really good, probably. And still, I mean, just do what feels the best, and just try to try to do the best, and what else? Keep the mom happy. That's what I heard.
That's
keep the mom happy.
That's the best. So. And this kid, a girl or a boy, whatever it will be, will probably be. We talked about the new sport this morning. You remember about golf, the new salming sport? Was kidding with them, but your kid will probably be a very good golfer.
I hope not. That would be horrible. I hope they will. I hope they would absolutely not play golf, and I hope they stay away from the stables with horseback riding, because I hear that's a terrible place for.
It's expensive.
Expensive, and it's just cold, and it smells really bad, and it's just a lot of echoes and stuff. Same with ice hockey; it would be really bad as well. I think swimming is perfect, because I could exercise.
And the bike riding.
Yeah, but I think swimming is perfect
Okay.
because it's a good quality. Of course, it's a very life-saving quality, so there's that. But I could also do exercise. They also always have great coaches, so my kid could, put them over there. Coach takes care of them, and I could train, practice, so it makes everyone happy. And running, of course. So I'm going to. I will get good use for my OT comp shoes and get one of these. Push carries, one of these running chariots. So I would probably be very, very strong next year because I hear you get really strong from pushing this thing.
But you said you will give the coaching to someone else. Did I hear you right? Someone else will make the coaching of your kid, or you're not going to?
The swim coaching. Well, I'll do the first part, but once they become interested in swimming, you want them swimming in a group, of course, with other kids, and there's always a coach.
That will not be you.
It might be. I don't know actually, but But then of course I couldn't swim at the same time. So
Jonas Colting.
But I would definitely. It will be a lot of fun teaching, of course, sports or just skills to a new person, and hopefully they will enjoy the same sports as me, and I'll do my best to inspire that little person. It will be a lot of fun.
Jonas, thank you very much for staying with us here and sharing all your thoughts. And good luck with everything.
Thank you.
The biggest adventure especially.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Jonas Colting.
Thanks.
Thank you. Right. Let me see. I need this one.